Hello and welcome back to the U Up podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana. How are you? What's happening? What's going on?
Things are good. I went to the Taylor Swift tribute band last week.
I remember. How was it?
It was fun. I'll give a little caveat. So I went with like a bunch of girls. We were like women. We were
ladies.
ladies
Ladies who Swift.
Yes, exactly. Or take what we can get.
But you
in the burbs.
Take what we can get. I think that's a nice night.
The scraps of Taylor Swift.
Right,
the scraps of the Taylor Swift economy.
I mean, it's pretty wild to be so big. Someone was like, Taylor Swift cover band. I was like, yeah, that's like Michael Jackson impersonator. Like, to me, it's like
I mean, I don't
Elvis impersonator. Like, that's how big she is. Elvis, Michael Jackson, Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
it's on that scale.
Whoever was doing the cover looked a lot like her. Had a great wig.
There was like a wig. Like, she did look like her.
Yeah.
I saw a little bit of your video.
Yeah, I think she did a great job. I don't know the difference. Like,
Right.
if you put sound, if you took blind sound.
That's what I'm sure some of the parents are saying about the kids they're bringing. They're like, I'm not spending $5,000.
Well, yeah.
I'll spend $50 on Jailer Piff.
Exactly.
I don't know how you
what
say
do they
that.
care? Well, it's funny because we made it a real night out. We had a pregame. We showed up like kind of late and pretty drunk, and we're all there.
Whoa, mommy!
And it's like, no, we get there and like everyone is 9 years old. So we're and everyone and all the women who are like our age are there just like watching their kids dance in the front.
Oh my God.
So it's like we're just like the degenerate group of like wasted.
There wasn't other groups like you? That's so funny.
Not really. No.
Just plop
There was
into
a
this.
lot of kids.
A lot of kids.
A lot of kids.
I guess that makes some sense.
The bar
Like-
was pretty free. not
not
a
like
long
you needed
line.
it. How many of you were there?
6.
So 6 women
Yes.
come in dressed. You guys like did it up. I
Yeah,
saw
we
a
wore
little bit. I saw some BTS.
I borrowed a shirt. We did the glitter eye shit.
Mm.
We went hard.
So you come running in and you're like, you screaming and yelling, and then all of a sudden, it's all a bunch of like 10-year-olds.
9-year-old girls. Yeah, I would say would be like the sweet spot of the age that was there.
That's so great. You had a good time?
We had fun. We got there too late because we were like, oh, the show starts at 7. We're like, there must be an opener. I think somehow we thought it ended at 11. So we got there at like.
It's people like you that ruin our
We got there like
us entertainers' lives. We'll
seriously.
get it. We'll float in whenever. I have a story on this, but go on.
Where are those people?
Yeah.
So we were having fun at the pregame, like we were, back in
Yeah.
the day. And then we show up and
Do you
the show
play?
ended.
Hold on, I'm sorry to interrupt. Do you play Taylor Swift at the pregame?
Yeah, of course.
See, I would play if I were to plan this out. I'd play like a Taylor Swift mix, no Taylor Swift, because I want to save it for the event.
That's a good idea.
but-
Maybe next time.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
just a thought.
That probably would have been a better idea. So we get there at like 8:45, and the show ends at like 9:15. These kids gotta go to bed.
School night.
These kids actually.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, I think we read this whole thing wrong.
Was
we
there
had
an
fun.
opener?
I don't know. We weren't there.
You were too drunk to know.
We were too drunk to know.
To remember.
We were so drunk that we decided to get pizza before, not after.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's drunk. The pizza with the cold cheese on it.
Yeah, we went to go. We
Yeah.
got it before, so that's when you've done this wrong.
So it says 7:00 showtime.
right.
You guys are like,
We'll roll it. I mean,
rolling at 7:15, but then you go pizza.
Someone spread a rumor that it ended at 11. We're like, oh, that's extremely long. She must not even go on until like 9.
Yeah, I guess when you're the Taylor Swift impersonator, you go on time.
Yeah,
you
you
don't
go
have
on
the
at 7.
leeway to be like, I'll go on when the green M&Ms are done in the green room. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I mean, it's a school night.
yeah, that is so funny. Were there assigned seats? Were people like up on the stage? Was this like a party, dance party?
We did. Yeah, it was a dance party.
Dance party,
Yeah,
fun.
it was a dance party.
What did they end on? Does that ruin a concert for people? I don't know.
Like, what was the last song?
Yeah, what was the last?
I don't remember.
If you don't remember the pizza, you don't remember the song. I'm
Sure, it was good. Yeah.
I think it's a blast.
But there are people like trying to hold like her hand, like in the front, like putting their hands up, like as if she's the real Taylor. It's kind of
you
nuts.
get into it. I do understand like the affordability aspect of it though. Like
Oh, totally.
like for people there, they're on
50
Long
bucks,
Island,
yeah.
$50. I'm gonna see
Something
basically
close enough.
Yeah, close
right,
enough.
yeah.
Especially if you're a parent to a kid, you're like, what a waste of fucking money on this kid. No. We're going
Right.
to Trailer Swift.
Well, I was thinking, I was talking to Dr. Naomi about this. I was like, if I had like 9's probably they know what's going on. If I had
Yeah.
a 6-year-old, might I just tell them it's the real thing?
I
Would that
mean,
be ethical?
Absolutely. So you're doing
So it's
Santa
like,
Claus.
yeah, that's what I mean. We kind of were discussing it in that context. I was
Yeah.
like, I think it's fine.
Yeah, I
you
would
know,
have no issue.
right?
They'd find out. It's not like it's going to be like
They called me out a few years later. I'd be like, yeah, it wasn't the real thing.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you don't want them to get
you're
embarrassed
6.
by going to tell all their friends that they saw Taylor Swift in Huntington.
Right. That's the problem. Is
Right.
one kid calls them out. Now they're a liar at 6 years old.
Right. And then now it's you who's turned them
Right.
into, embarrass them. But anyway, I was having that hypothetical.
Santa, we're all in on it.
right.
Taylor. Oh, I saw Taylor Swift last night. Oh, you big bragger.
Yeah. It's like, I think you should have a conversation with your mom.
Right. Someone is a little embarrassed of where they are in life. Couldn't
Saw
go
the
to
cover
MetLife. It's an interesting thing. I guess you don't know until you have the kids. That's like one of those things where
Right.
you go, yeah,
Depends how smart your kid is.
right.
You get there. What the hell is going on?
Wait, that's not her. I would love to see that reaction of just a really smart alecky kid. Like,
Right.
that's not Taylor
It's
Swift.
a good test. But then you could say I was testing you. You passed.
Right. You did
Right.
it.
But what's going on with you? We were just having a fun debate before this episode started.
Yeah, we were talking, whether Taylor Swift sucked or not. And no. Easy Swifties, easy.
They do get crazy.
I could hear them. I love Taylor
They're sharpening their knives.
Yeah, right.
You have to, every time you say anything that's not 120% positive about Taylor Swift, you have to say, and I love Taylor Swift.
Right. It is weird how sensitive the fan base is. Like, it is interesting, isn't it? They can't take any
It's
nuanced
crazy.
discussion of the artist. And it's like, you have to literally go, well, even that Golden Globes thing, like, he made a
Right.
joke that kind of flubbed, and it was like, it became this,
'Cause
like,
she wasn't-
think piece on,
She
like,
wasn't like hysterically laughing. I mean, she was kind of like, I've heard that one before.
yeah, it was a bad joke.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it was a joke that they wrote to do, like, on the show. That was like when I saw that, I was like, we've done this joke. She's been
Right.
shown a lot in the NFL, like,
It
whatever.
was a lot of jokes like that.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised, and then it turned into this think piecey moment of like, oh, look how they make fun of a woman and look how they treat a man. And it was like
Right.
someone was like, yeah, Bruce Springsteen, you're the best alive. I was like, well, it's two different people. Like, it was a
Different,
weird,
different situation.
yeah, it didn't seem fair as a use of a thesis statement. But we were discussing what constitutes dating versus seeing.
Versus what's the
Well-
scale? Well, we were talking about the scale of singleness because I remembered before, before you went on that date in December, you were like, I am extremely single. And I
Right.
was like, what does that mean?
Mhm.
And you said, there's no one out there that could say that they're dating me.
Fair.
Right. And so I'm kind of like, all right. So what if one is going on dates? And I think this is also like, what does this mean to one person versus another person?
This is the uncomfortable part of dating. This is why not a lot of people want to have dating podcasts.
Right.
Where you go, I have to be.
Well, you don't want to be the one who's embarrassingly thinking you're further along than the other person does.
Absolutely not. And, I think sometimes and especially with dating apps, like I'm not on any dating apps. Okay. But I would consider myself single. I've been talking to women.
Right.
I have conversations over text. The thing about text and the reason, when I talk about when I hear someone's situation where they're like, I've been texting with this guy for a month and we've gone out once. I'm like, this person's texting a few people.
Right.
I know what's going on in that phone. It's icky to reveal to you. I think it's better to live in a little bit of delusion when it comes to dating. When you go out on a first date from a dating app, that person is swiping on the toilet before they go on the date and then on the toilet after they go on the date.
The whole situation.
The whole thing. So, yeah, it's like that's unpleasant to hear.
Yeah.
If you went on a great first date, which many are. Like, I live in a positive place. Sometimes they're bad, sometimes they're good, sometimes they're just medium, and sometimes they're amazing.
Right.
And when you walk away, you you would like to live in a world where someone left the date and goes, I'm done, delete it all.
Some people do that.
And Jorge
Right?
among us
Yeah.
is a person that can happen.
Have you ever done that?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
But it's a spectrum, you
Right.
know, like a spectrum of like how people leave a date. You know, oh, that was good. I need to like think about it.
Okay.
Oh, that was good. Fun. That was hot. That was cool. I don't know what happens next. So like the idea of like me, you know, since that moment where I was like, I'm very single.
You're less single than you were at that moment. Not that you're not single.
Right.
On a scale of 1 to 10, if you're not speaking to anyone and not going on any dates, you're a 1.
0.
0, 1, whatever. Fine.
Right. If you
Okay.
got people in your phone and you're texting in a flirty way, now you're at, 2 or 3.
Sure.
If you've gone out with a few of those people, you're probably at 4.
Yeah. Well,
It's like if someone like I would love for someone to have a podcast
exclusive but not in a relationship.
that's like 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would, and then like exclusive
3 months, haven't had the conversation yet. 6?
6,
Okay.
exclusive pre-social media 8,
Okay.
exclusive post-social media 9. You're in it.
Well, social media, is that not like what
That's
you've established you're in a relationship?
yeah, that's like a 10. I guess that's the relationship. You're
Right.
now out of dating spectrum and into I don't know, it's tough because it's funny. I'd love for someone to have a podcast that I could listen to. Where you go, because I'd gone on a date with someone, and then you think about like, well, how would they describe what's
Yes.
going on? And you go, and then in my mind, I'm like, oh, if someone was like, have you gone out with anyone? Oh, I've been kind of seeing this guy once or twice. Like, I
Right.
think it would be like a lot of like, it wouldn't be a straight up.
Well, the question is like, are you the terminology of dating, right? What is date? You're dating. What does that mean to you?
Right. That's tough.
How would you define?
See, I would define
dating.
See, to me, dating is like, it's more exclusive than not.
Okay.
Like I'm dating. If I was to say I'm dating someone, like I'm not entertaining others.
Okay. So then that's almost like a lead up to an exclusivity. You're saying,
Yeah,
right?
I
An
think,
exclusivity light
and I
for
think,
you. I don't think women would think of it the same way.
Well, how would they think about it?
I think they would say 3 or 4 dates. We're dating.
Right.
We're going on dates.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess they would say that. I
But I guess if you wanted
wouldn't just
exclusivity, I would
deny that.
I think if I wanted exclusivity, I'd say, are you dating anyone else? Like if I were going to say, are you dating anyone else? I would assume
Well,
are you
there's a
going on
difference.
dates with others.
Are you dating anyone else, or are you still actively like pursuing other, opportunities that come up?
Are those 2 different things?
I guess, yeah. Like, I really don't think, and if you want to be a pessimist, you can go, this person's out there dating other people. It's like you only have so much time in the day.
Right.
Like if you're going on a date like once a week with someone, like that's a full schedule to like, are you going on 3 dates a week with 3 different people, keeping up those text conversations? No. Like, but if I was going on a date with someone once every week, I would be like, yeah, I've been kind of seeing that person, but I wouldn't be like, I don't know.
You wouldn't say, but I think that's a difference in terminology. Like if you had gone on 3 dates a week with 3 different women who you've all been on 2 dates with already. So you're going on 3 third dates.
3 third dates.
Yeah. I would say you're dating a few different people.
Yeah, I would say that too.
Right.
Right. I guess, this is kind of where this male-female conversation is like, I think helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
I mean, yeah.
Well, because it's like, again, there's a lot of men out there that a woman will like say something to you and go, yeah, that makes sense. Like, I haven't thought of it that way.
Right.
Like
right. You think we're dating. Like that makes sense.
Sure.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, it is funny. Like if you do go to someone that you're dating, a lot of guys, they'll go, well, you didn't think of it? Like,
Right.
Right,
I just think
yeah,
women, I think, are like less prone to like, if they found someone that they're enjoying going on dates with, I just think
Right.
they're less likely to continue going on dates with other people.
I think that has a lot to do with like the safety aspect of it.
Sure,
Like I think
yeah.
it's a societal safety thing. Like to me, like the idea of like going on a first date is like not a scary proposition. I don't think it's scary to women generally, but I think all the things that could pop up on a first date. He's he it's a stranger. It's
The probability of it working out is lower and the effort is higher, right?
explain that for me.
So it's like any first date has probably a low probability of turning into something real.
Right.
But the effort for a first date is like fairly high as opposed to like, because you're putting the same effort into a first date as you are on a third date. And as we've said, like women put a lot more effort
Absolutely.
into going on dates.
Right. For me, going on a first date is like really
low effort.
It's nothing.
Right.
It's
And-
like it's leaving the house and being dressed the way I was dressed earlier that day. There's no makeup. There's no
Right.
thought. Yeah.
And
You're right.
You're also more open. Success for the date for you has a lot more options than for women.
Fair.
Like for you, if you slept with someone on the date, good date.
Fun date.
But you never spoke to them again, that would be fine.
Right.
Like I don't think that would be like a successful date for someone. So like the
Interesting,
upside,
yeah.
I think, of a first date with someone new, lower.
Yeah. And also the downside higher.
Yeah.
Like the guy being like I don't run when I go on dates, it's so rare. I can't really remember like someone being horrific
Right.
on the other side of the table. We hear from women these tales
Yeah.
that I go, what? Like
And
I
that's
have-
usually when there's different motivations, right?
Right.
In the date.
if the guy's
Yeah.
motivation is and again, if his ego's built on I'm not going to get taken advantage of to pay for someone's dinner,
Right.
well, you know what I mean? Like we hear these things. The more we do this, the more I know, the harder it becomes for me. So like
Right.
I
Now you can't claim any ignorance.
I have no ignorance.
Yeah.
I have
know it all.
I know too much, I think. It's and I'm not saying I'm a victim in that. I'm just saying I definitely have that.
Well, you might be
weighing on
held
me.
to a higher bar.
I feel I
Right.
have to.
Yeah.
But it is, yeah, I can't claim ignorance on anything.
Right.
It's tough to even, and
I mean, but also everyone's an individual and not everyone agrees with like some people maybe disagree with my take on how invested one might be in a first date.
I just think to me, there's nothing to disagree with.
Right.
The idea that that more is put in from the female side on a first date, I can't disagree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see how anyone would. I can see how someone would go, well, I only do coffee for that reason. Okay, well then you've put more
Right.
thought into it than many men do. Then I would say, but I on the danger element, like the danger of like, and this is where I'm with you again. It's like if you had a first couple good dates, why would I go out there to the great wild world of guy who could be a dick, guy who's looking for just sex, guy who won't pay for the date, guy who, has small penis.
Yeah.
I mean, not where not the height he says. Like all those things aren't revealed. To me, I get to see everything on the outside. It's usually what it is.
Right. Plus, the more dates you go on, I don't know if this is true for men. This is a good question for you.
Okay.
Every date I would go on with someone, I'd get more invested in the outcome. Right.
Oh, like
So then I'm more
there's more to
likely-
lose.
There's more to lose. I'm more into them usually. Like
Mm.
I think that maybe you're more emotionally attached. I don't know if that happens with men if you've gone out a few times. Like I feel like you could go out with someone maybe like 3 or 4 times and you wouldn't be like, I'm emotionally invested.
Well,
this person
I kind of feel
at
that from
that
the other
point.
side where I'm like, I know this person's more emotionally invested. I'm not sure where my emotions lie.
Right.
And that's why a lot of like when, people write in that what all of a sudden he says he can't do what we're doing. We get that email a lot.
Right.
Like all of a sudden he freaked out. And you're like, well, yeah, he had to,
That's what I'm saying. We're
he had to
labeled
match your emotion.
Because I think part of that might be the labeling because the words you use do affect the feelings you have about it. So if I've been on 3 dates with you, I'd say we're dating. And then if it doesn't work out, that was a guy I was dating that it didn't work out with.
Right.
Whereas you're like, that's someone I went on
Dates with.
Which
is a very different way to look
yes,
at it, even though it's
it
very
makes
small
the person
change.
more special to you.
Yeah.
Like we're dating, not like we went on dates.
Yeah, this might be a topic for the benefits episode.
Yeah.
Because what you're saying is like, it kind of makes me sad.
It makes me sad too for like for
Well, it makes me sad because I should be like,
Yeah.
maybe I should be looking at it that way. Am I excited? Am I going on dates for the sake of going on dates? I think that happens to a lot of people.
right.
Where it's like, well, we got to this point in the conversation on whatever app. I guess we go out now. And I guess we go out now maybe for some women based on this is like, that's why, 3 dates in, now I'm invested.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could get that way from I guess we go out now. I think I have to start at I need to fucking go out.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, I think it's about like the meaning that I think that's sort of the crux of a lot of the differences between men and women in dating. It's like, and what's painful about it is this feeling of like, it's so much more meaningful to me than this person. That's where the ego comes into it.
Right.
I think like the meaning that you're putting into it.
And that's where kind of the anger comes from too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I was just someone you went on dates with. It's like, no. Like, again,
Right.
if you hear from me right now, but
also, yeah.
But yeah.
Right. It
I was
wasn't as
getting,
meaningful. It wasn't
right.
as meaningful to you as it was to many people.
Maybe if I put on a tux for every date, that would help my mindset.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's hard to, it's like, what are you going to force someone to care more? And I actually think like in some ways it would be better for a lot of women to adopt your mindset because it makes it so much less intense and takes the pressure off of it.
Well,
if you're like, I'm going on a third date, not I'm dating this person, because that makes you more invested in it. And wouldn't we all do better if we were just seeing how things go and with less meaning and less heaviness attributed to each interaction? This
would kind of be a commercial for meeting in person.
Yeah.
If you think about it, because meeting in person is that. Like, we met randomly, had a great conversation. That's the first date.
Right.
Now there isn't this like lead up. The dating app, the lead up is kind of what hurts it the most.
Because of the meaning placed on like the actual
right.
date.
Well, now Tuesday night at 8. Instead of I was at this bar with friends and I came across this guy or girl or
right.
And we were just talking and we made out after that. It was like great. And now we exchanged numbers. Now you're in second date land. Now the meaning is on something that actually has meaning, not this like we've drummed this up.
But would a guy think that had meaning?
I think so. I think that would be
first date after a spontaneous meetup.
I think that would give more to the excitement level and and also it plays to the male kind of casualness of it all. Like it doesn't go into, well, we met on this date and date 2 was on this date and no, it was like, oh, we met in this bar I think a couple weeks ago and now we're going out like next week. I don't know.
Now you're dating.
And now you're dating. I don't know. Yeah, this is a discussion of like, brain chemistry, brain chemicals. Like how do you feel things? Like what makes you
attached to someone?
Right. What makes you excited for something?
Yeah.
And again, when you ask me like, are you seeing anyone? And you go, well, and you're like, that's not how you want to answer that question.
Well, that's just not how sounds like you would answer someone when you were like excited about something. And that's with anything, right? How's the job search going? Well, I've been on a couple with a few different things. If you were like, no, I'm on a 3rd round with this company, like, I think it's a match. Like you'd be like, okay, great. Like it's going well versus, how are the, looking for an apartment. How are you seeing anything good?
Right.
I've seen a few.
You're right. It's but then, you go to this other thing as a single person, you go, what else am I supposed to do? Like you go, do I just sit? I think a lot of single people when they go, I think everyone's been in this scenario where like, I could go on the date or what? Nothing.
Well, you're like, well, I guess what you're asking is like, how does one date intentionally? Right.
Right.
And I think to date intentionally, you have to have the intention of an end result.
I think you are right. And I think you also have to be like somewhat like of an asshole. Like I think to be intentionally dating, you have to be almost like a cutthroat CEO.
Yes.
Like this company can have no fat.
Right.
And you go on a first date and you have a good time. You go, not good enough for this company.
Yeah.
You have to kind of be that way. And,
I agree. Yeah.
And that's hard to do.
But you got to but also that involves asking the right questions to find that out. It's not just saying, and the cutthroat thing is good in that way. You're asking questions to find out if the person's really a match. You're not just kind of like fucking around or dancing around those questions.
Right. No, and that's incredibly hard for me. I mean, as we talked about when we had the date set up,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had, you heard how uncomfortable I felt not texting.
Right.
Like, that's not a cutthroat CEO. That's a fucking patsy. Like,
well, but I think the other part of it is like wanting the end. It's like you're more likely to be cutthroat if you're like, and I think a lot of women, especially older women, the older they get and they're dating, they're like, I want to be married and I want to engage in a year. So like, it's my goal. I'm very clear. I think the clearness of the goal of dating allows you to like be more cutthroat because you're like, well, I'm not going to be in a relationship if I'm not asking these questions. I'm not going to be like, I can't, I'm not going to get there in the timeline that I want to get there if I'm not vetting people in this way.
Right. It's an interesting way to look at it because if someone you're seeing isn't doing that,
mm-hmm.
then you can kind of tell where this is all going to go no matter what.
How so?
Like if you're dating someone who's like, I don't know, I'd like to be married in whatever amount of time. That means they're seeing a bunch of people and they're not really thinking these things. And they're going to maybe willing to let this play out.
Right.
In a vague way.
Right. To them, it could be successful if it's just kind of like, we'll see.
We're hanging.
And that's not the case for the other person.
Right. Yeah. We're going to talk more about this on benefits.
I'm excited. Recording that soon.
We're recording that after this. But what are we talking about today? I got shows. Can I tell people about my shows?
Can you?
Please.
Of course.
I just want to let people know I am touring this great country and I have so many shows that we're adding. Okay. So I'm going to be in Buffalo and then New York. We added a second show. Get the tickets for New York. Get them. Come on. Assemble a group chat.
Gonna sell out.
The first show sold out. Second show, we added a late show. It's not that late. Get your tickets. Boston. 9, right. What are you, a loser?
You're like me, you show up at 10:45.
I have. Yeah. You would not believe. I had a group of 4 women show up 10 minutes into my set at my show in Houston.
That's rude.
10 minutes. No. Not that. The show has openers.
Right.
So 10 minutes into my set.
You're really late.
You're 40 minutes late. And then they strolled out. Again, it wasn't.
They were probably having that conversation. Oh, well, they're probably an opener for an hour and a half.
Your conversation was them. That's why I brought it me. It gave me a shiver down my spine. But it wasn't. It was the Sunday night show, so it was a little bit light. Okay, so that's me and like 7 people. And I'm like, when it's lighter and there's open seats, you got to bring it. You got to like get the crowd. Let me acknowledge that's a little bit light here. I start the show. Right. I go, no, I made sure they stopped selling tickets at 10. I wanted to make sure you all were very comfy and had extra seats. So I make this joke and I'm getting them into it. And, I'm acknowledging, when it's a lighter show, it's a different performance a little bit.
Okay. You got to work for it.
Sing, dance, and dust. So I'm like, I've got them. I've got the plane in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, these 4 women, they were dressed for Taylor Swift. They were like in sequins, everything. So 4 disco balls come rolling in the front. Hey, we're here. And I'm like, what the fuck? And they sat in the front fucking row. I go, what happened? You're 40 minutes late. What's going on? They go, we had babysitter issues. And I was like, fuck off. Babysitter issues. Don't mom me.
Right.
That doesn't. Babysitter issues doesn't mean you have to stroll to the front row.
What are you supposed to say to that? Fuck your baby.
I did. No, but sit in the back. If I were me, I would have been like, we'll be in the back. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna parade float up to the front.
That's like if you show up to a wedding late and the ceremony's you're gonna go to the front.
Thank you. No. And they looked at me like,
you
what?
have to sneak and slither into the back and just kind of hope no one noticed.
Like a normal fucking person.
No, front row. I mean, were there assigned seats?
Even so, I don't care. Oh, we got the VIP package with the big pop of champagne. You're interrupting. And also, so then you have to update them on what's going on. Now I have a group of 4 in the front. I go, let's recap the show so far.
Oh, wow.
We went through all the room. I introduced them to all the people I had just made fun of.
Well, I'm sure they regretted that choice then. by the end.
They
Or
didn't
had
seem
fun.
to. They seemed to like.
They probably liked it. That's why you sit in the front. If you're buying the front package, you want to be roasted a little bit.
Let's
Sorry.
let's
I
wanna
didn't mean to trigger you.
You're right. Let's want to be roasted quieter. So I don't know.
Where else-
I
where else
had
are you
fun
going?
with them. So New York, Boston, second show's almost sold out. Toronto got a second show. You guys kept asking for Toronto more. Now we got it. Now it's me and the wait staff. Chicago almost sold out the second show. Minneapolis, Royal Oak, Boise, Olympia, Washington, Vancouver, Denver, San Francisco, LA, Nashville. We have added Charleston.
Ooh.
Never done a show in Charleston. Oh, I've done shows in Charleston at my buddy's
doing
bar.
it at that bar?
No, doing it at a theater.
Oh, wow.
So I need Charleston people.
Great bachelorette activity.
There we go. Thank you. You're right. Charleston at a theater, so we need people. Dallas, we got a good Dallas crew.
Yeah, I'll send all my siblings.
Then we'll be sold out in no time.
There you go.
And then New Orleans, added to the calendar.
When are you going to Dallas?
When am I in
Oh,
Dallas?
sorry. I guess they could all look at.
JaredFree.com. The big reveal
I'll
for
check
when
it
I'm
out.
in Dallas. I'll get Jordana, the Abrahams, their
Special.
their special 30-ticket package.
So what? It's just all 8 siblings of mine and their significant others
and the
a
babies.
few of their kids.
Yeah, we'll put them in
Not a
the
big
playpen
deal.
that I have set up in the front row. I'm very excited. JaredFree.com. And again, to the people, even that group of 4, women that came and sat in the front, it was fun. I had a good time.
I'm
It was
sure.
good. We always have fun. Let's jump right in.
32 minutes in?
Why not, right?
Let's do
Well,
it.
we had some dating discussions.
Yeah, we definitely.
We got into it. That
definitely
was
got into it.
nitty gritty.
That's like
dating
real
talk.
nuanced dating shit, right?
Right.
there.
That was the you up at its
Right.
finest.
Are we dating? That'd be a funny game for us to play. Like, are we dating? People write the scenario. Are you dating? We'll let you know.
I love it.
Right?
Send them in.
Send in your scenarios.
Are we
UUP
dating?
At Betches.com. Write your scenario. We'll tell you if you're dating or not.
I'll tell you right away. Easy. That's way easier than me.
It-
Talking for
it-
myself.
so
I'll talk
much
for these
easier.
other assholes.
So much easier to say if someone else is dating than if you're dating. All right.
What are we talking about today?
All right. Tonight, I'll read the email. Just
Oh,
jump right into
this
it.
sensitive bitch. No,
Yes. There we go,
oh,
Jared.
I got annoyed. I
An
read this
icon
email.
to all the women of New York.
Should we cut that out? I don't know. No, keep it in. It's
Keep
fine.
it in. Dear
I
Jay,
am who I am.
You are who you are.
I had
right.
6 martinis last night. I gotta calm down.
6.
It's oozing out of my
6
skin
glasses
right
of
now.
vodka.
Why do you have to put it that way?
But no.
Yeah, it was. I'm gonna give a recommendation. Plug
Let's hear
City, Raoul's. I'm not saying anything out of turn.
Okay.
Go to that place. Oh, also Milady's, great date bar.
Okay.
Milady's.
Ladies.
It's in Soho.
So
Great.
you're on the Soho grind.
Like a Soho
I see.
situation. Milady's. I'm not giving you an interesting recommendation. It was like top 50 bars in America.
Okay.
Great.
Well, you're vouching for it. That's important.
I'm
those
rubber stamp.
those lists aren't always accurate.
I've disagreed with a few.
That's what I'm saying.
Listen. Right now, I'm in this war of words with pop-up bagels.
Why?
The owner and I are on a text chain now. We've the new J Train podcast. You will be a guest on.
I'm excited.
It's been tough to like make the change in the show, but like when it hits, it's a
And
really
this the bagel store
the
bit.
pop-up bagel discussion really got people going. So if you guys want to go check that out, it's on the J Train podcast. Basically, Jeremy Jacobowitz, who is a food influencer
Yeah.
reviewer, he was Brunch Boys. He reviewed pop-up bagels, and he was like, he basically let them go. Their premise is eat them hot, which of course everyone likes a hot bagel.
Toasted,
Well, no,
not toasted.
not
Just
they
hot.
go right out of the oven. They give them to you, and they go rip it and start dipping.
Not toasted.
They don't want you toasted. They don't want you, and that's
Okay.
their whole gimmick. And then Jeremy went and reviewed it. He goes, I gotta let it cool. To fairly judge it versus other bagels in New York, I gotta have them at 2 hours cooled. So there was this big argument of whether that was a fair review or not. What do you think?
So 2 hours cooled, no toasting.
No toasting. You taste
I don't like a cold untoasted bagel.
It
personally.
seems like you like a toasted bagel.
You don't? I think
I
it's
could
kinda-
go either way.
Really?
Yeah, I'm buying this way. I'll have a toasted bagel. I'll have an untoasted bagel.
No, definitely toasted.
When I hear people do this
I
debate,
don't
I
give a
have
shit
never
if it's fresh,
understood.
if it's toasted. To me, like I don't want to be stale, but I don't really care
course.
if it's
Well,
straight out of the.
Here was my issue. To me, pop-up bagels is anti-Jewish. Because
Anti-Semitic?
a little anti-Semitic.
Okay.
I didn't want to go that far. Anti-Jewish.
I mean,
Well,
what's the difference?
in what world are you eating bagels at a Jewish event that are just hot out of the oven?
Well, how could it's very hard logistically to be able to do that.
And this is my point.
Right.
At a Shiva call, so they're
Right.
out.
Yeah,
At
I mean,
break the
that's sort of
fast, they're out. They're not.
That's the appeal. Is like you just get a bunch of them. They're out. Anyone, especially when you're in a house, anyone comes downstairs, grab a bagel.
That was my point with pop-up bagels. You
Yeah.
can't tell us they have to be hot. Then I go, okay, I guess you're out for Shiva calls, post the bar mitzvah brunch,
Right.
break the fast, all these events that are Jewish events.
Yeah.
I guess we're done. And if that's the case, put that above your door. We don't serve Jews. I'm kidding.
Is the owner Jewish?
He's got to be, right?
I would imagine.
I don't know. I'm on a text chain with him. I'll check out. Listen, I do like their takes on the specialty butters, but like hot bread and butter, like who's fucking that up?
Pop-up bagels, you got to send me one. I'll let you know.
Okay,
I'll
well-
give you an honest review. Actually, I probably won't because if someone sends me something, I feel bad saying something negative about it. Not like you in the Seville.
We heard from the Seville. I haven't heard from them.
No.
They went
Ghosted
quiet
you.
on that.
Wow.
Not a first date spot, more of a third date spot. Go visit the Seville. It's a beautiful bar.
You know, that's how you know. We'll tell it to you like it is on this podcast. We're not afraid
no.
to insult the sponsors.
That's why no one will come on here. The only person brave enough is Jay Shetty. This guy's coming back.
He's coming back.
Great. Can't wait to have him. All right, let's get to the
All right,
emails.
let's do it.
I'm sorry.
All
I
right.
digress.
No, you're good. All right. Jay and Jay, I've been devoted listener since 2017 and absolutely love your show. I'll get right into it.
This is the person I called the sensitive bitch.
The biggest fan
the
that we've
biggest
ever
fan
had.
ever. Oh.
The most loyal person.
I'm doing everything I can to just live in squalor.
Loyalty will get you nowhere.
Right.
My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years and we currently live together. Before we met, he had a one-night stand at his friend's wedding. He told me all about the hookup. That's weird. My boyfriend... If Mike
Look at
Mike
these two
told me he had a
weirdos.
one-night stand at his friend's wedding, I wouldn't be like, tell me everything.
But it seems like
What
this
was it?
woman asks a lot of questions,
Did
though.
she come? Like, I don't know how. I don't know why.
How big were the nipples?
Told me all about it. I don't know who would request
Let me
that.
tell you, that wedding, oh my God,
Have you ever
my
told
dick
a
got
woman
wet.
about another hookup in detail?
I try not to. I
Right.
guess the idea would be like, have you ever hooked up at a wedding? I can
Sure.
understand how it would get into that conversation. Oh, your friend's wedding, how was it fun? Of course it was.
Let
I
me
fucked.
tell you. All right. My boyfriend was a groomsman and the girls was a bridesmaid, a tale as old as time. Let's call the married couple Jim and Pam. Pam and Jim have become our good double date friends. We have never addressed my boyfriend's past with the bridesmaid. I'm not sure if Pam knows that I know about it. However, Pam often brings up her friend and names drops her in conversation. I admit that I've gathered information about her through these conversations as well as some harmless Facebook stalking. Winky face. The friend is single. Okay.
Coming for your man.
Seriously. Pam is now pregnant and invited us to her baby shower. I'm 99% sure that Pam will also invite her best friend to the baby shower.
You think?
I'm looking. I have a sneaking suspicion
Right.
that she's going to invite the maid of honor at her
Right.
wedding to the baby shower.
You mean Aunt Lisa? I think she's coming.
I'm looking for advice on how to handle meeting her. I feel uncomfortable about it, and I'm sure my boyfriend does too.
No, he doesn't. That was the
You're
fun.
the only one.
I laughed out loud at that line.
Yeah, I'm sure my
I'm sure my boyfriend
does too.
Well, how will he handle the two women he fucked
Right.
at the baby shower? Oh, I'm shivering on my way in.
Unless this is like the only other person he's ever slept with.
That's the only way he's uncomfortable
Right.
with this. No,
Yeah.
I'm sure my boyfriend is too. No, your boyfriend's
don't think
masturbating
so.
to the idea before he gets there.
But I imagine that this girl feels even more uncomfortable. I don't think she does.
No.
Than the two of us combined. I think this will be an entertaining situation, and I'm looking for some insight on how to handle it. Thanks so much.
I've interrupted a lot. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
she's built it up into something
Yes.
it doesn't need to be.
This means a lot more to her than it does to anyone else.
And I think she would feel better if she talked about it with this new couple that she knows. I think
you think she should even talk to them about it?
I think it's part of the problem is that she's double date friends with this other couple. So they've become closer. And then she knows something that she knows they know about that hasn't been spoken about.
Right.
So it's like, I know that they know, but they don't know that I know. And it's like,
that's
built up into something it doesn't have to be.
I would have made a joke about it like years ago if I were her.
Right. Like, oh, your best friend? You mean the one Jonathan fucked?
Right.
Like, I don't
Your
even know
girlfriend?
that.
Your other girlfriend?
The ex.
Right.
You know, because it was a one-night stand. Again, like, you know, I think more often than not, the hookup at a wedding people can, like, kind of live in this, like, it's not like the conversation of, like, what's dating versus not dating.
No. Yeah, it's very clear what it was.
Right. And it's like, and especially this is kind of where men get let off the hook, is like women love, again, labeling.
Romanticizing it, yeah.
Romanticizing, but also labeling and boxing things.
Mhm.
So it is funny because we've gotten these emails too, where in the land of I know too much, where a lot of women write in, well, you know, I hooked up at this wedding, but he doesn't think of me as anything, right? It was just a wedding hookup. I was like, I don't know. We're not as defined as that. We're as undefined about the hookup at the wedding as we are about the hookup on the first date.
Right.
You know, so when you go...
That's almost worse.
well, yeah, it's what you do it to yourselves.
Right. No, but it's almost like, you know, it's like, you know that phrase, like, I don't care what you think about me. I don't think about you at all. It's kind of what it feels like.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, you'd almost rather them think about you negatively or be anxious about it than them you're not even a blip on the radar.
Right. I guess, you know, if I hooked up at a wedding, I would go, that was fun. Maybe I'll text them again. I don't know. Let me rethink this.
Yeah.
You know,
she's built up. She's stalking this person. She's building it up. She's looking, and I think women, myself included, like the drama of it.
right.
It's a little exciting to be like, you're now in a Us Weekly article about yourself.
Yeah. I mean, she writes, I think this will be an entertaining situation. No, it isn't.
For who? Yeah.
For you.
Right.
Yeah, for you, who's like drummed up this like non-thing. They fucked. You fucked other people too, I think.
Probably.
Yes. You know, based on the numbers game of who, you know, people who fuck. And I think she needs to like say it out loud. I think to the friend. I think that might help.
What?
I don't know. Make a joke. The way you know.
I think almost the window has passed.
Right. That's
Do you know
fair.
what I mean?
Yeah,
it would
yeah,
have to it would have to come up the first time she said something. It was like, oh, is that your friend that Bobby had sex with? Whatever.
Right. When you walk into the baby shower, go right up to this woman and stick your tongue in her ear.
There you go.
Now you'll watch your
Right.
boyfriend cum his
He's
pants
mine.
and everyone will go fucking nuts.
Stick your tongue in your boyfriend's ear.
Oh, yeah.
Mine.
Oh,
You say
yeah. That's
mine,
right. Like
just mouth mine.
prison mindset.
Yeah. Mark your territory.
Right. Have him hold your pocket you walk around the place. Take your pocket out of it
Right.
and have him hold it walking around the party.
Well, she's
and
like,
now everyone will know he's your boyfriend.
she wants advice on how to act. It's like, just be a normal person.
Yeah.
You probably won't even speak to her. Why would you speak
Right.
to someone at a party you didn't know? Like, wasn't
And if he introduced you, be nice.
right?
You know, like, I don't even know.
Spit in her face.
Oh, is this the whore?
Right.
Like, yeah, no.
Don't make it weird.
Right. Just be a normal, fun
Right. It'd
person
be
that you
different.
are.
If it was like his ex-girlfriend is going to be there, that's a different email.
Totally different. And listen, I can't tell you how to feel. I understand.
Mhm.
I get it. I can understand. You don't mention it. It gets blown out of proportion in your own mind. And now you're heading into this
Right.
baby shower. What's going to happen at a baby shower? The idea that they're going to have this blowout fight.
No, I don't think she's. I
Little-
think she's like, oh, like, does she know that? Like, I know. Like, I know.
That's the crux of the whole thing. She's so caught up in knowing this thing that she thinks nobody knows she knows.
Right.
And it's the couple. She doesn't think they know that she knows. And it's the hookup from the wedding.
Right. That's why it's too late. She should have just like said. And then when you get there and you see the girl, because it's funny that you know who she is, because like in his mind, how would you know who she is? But you're like an insane stalker, just like I would be. No issue. I would have done it too. No shame.
Yeah.
And when she walks in, I would just say to your boyfriend, like, oh my God, there she is. Like, should I go introduce her? Should I go like introduce myself and tell her that, like, make a joke?
Right. Take the lead a little bit.
Right.
Don't let it happen to you. Take the lead.
Make
on
it funny.
Yeah. hit him in the shoulder. Is that the one from the
there's
wedding?
there's your girlfriend.
Right. There's your girlfriend. Is fine.
Right.
Yeah. And then watch Mrs. Doubtfire and the part where she goes, hello. That's how you say hello to her.
Exactly.
Like, do a little act. Awkward situation. We love these awkward encounters. Send them
Nothing
in.
better.
UUP@Betches.com, UUP@Betches.com. Hi, J&J. Thanks for all the laughs and helpful advice over the past few years. I, 27 female, met a guy, 27 male, at a singles event, and we went on a date the next day. Man, my dyslexia got ahead of me. Let's call him Nick. We had great banter. The first date was really fun. During the date, I asked him about college. He said he went to a state school his freshman year, then transferred to a private school for the remainder of his degree. This prompted to the question, why? He told me he got into a drunken bar fight and was expelled. Since it was a first date, it didn't seem appropriate to ask about it any further, and I didn't think about it again for a few days. Skip to the day after our second date. This was within 1 week of us meeting. As I was debriefing the date to my friend, she found it odd that he would be expelled for getting into a singular bar fight. I figured it was if he was expelled, especially at such a large school, this may have made its way to the internet, which it did. Uh-oh. There were at least 2 articles written about him, one from the university newspaper and the other from the state's newspaper. The one I read stated that there was a long-standing altercation between 19-year-old Nick and other minority students. Nick pushed and spat on them, stating that they are poor and are only here on scholarship. Yikes.
Wow.
That's brutal. I was pretty stunned, to say the least, and for other reasons beyond that. I did not want to continue seeing him. He mentioned that he was very spoiled growing up and got whatever he wanted, which he plans to do the same for his kids in the future, which doesn't align with my core values. Okay, that line annoyed me.
Yeah.
Like, how about you didn't like this thing?
Sure.
Like, I think that's it's a reasonable explanation. I don't know. She's got to pile on with my core values.
He sounds like an asshole if you're saying that.
What?
Depending how he sounds like an asshole.
Of course, but she had 2 interactions with a guy, and
I mean, the article is definitely coloring the experience.
right.
But.
So here's my question. Let's say Nick didn't give off the entitled, spoiled character, and this was truly his one massive red flag. That's the thing. That's what I'm wondering. You met at this event, and then you went out the next day. You had a date planned for the next, a week later you were with her friend. But I'm saying, like, maybe he didn't give off this, and then the article you go, oh, now I'm putting these things together. I don't know.
Right.
So let's say this was his one truly massive red flag. Given that this information will forever be online, I'm assuming that Nick won't be able to escape this. If you were Nick, how would you bring this up to a date? How soon would you bring it up for someone to someone you were interested in? Was saying he got into a bar fight the correct way to phrase this on a first date? This is an interesting one.
This is a tough one.
Very tough because it's also very like 2024. It's like, I'm not a big cancel culture guy. Like, I don't think that subject is like even like a interesting topic, but this kind of lives in the, like, we could all be canceled world, quote unquote,
Maybe this
so
is, I don't think most people have this on their internet search history.
No. I just mean, like, if you
there's
do
like,
something,
right, there's enough
things
internet,
are written
there's
in,
enough of an internet mark on most people that maybe you could find something.
Right. It's just the internet exists. It's written, as you've said, written in ink.
Right.
It's just there, like, and
No,
at
true.
19,
Yeah.
I'm not saying what he did was horrific. It sounds like.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, like, shit, how would he? Well, here's the thing. I don't know what he's like. Has he changed? That's a pretty fucked up thing. I would say,
up.
like, reading that would definitely make me a little reserved about someone that otherwise seemed great. I would have to bring it up to them, but I'm not, I guess we're not answering the question because we're not asking what he should do. I would have to, if I saw that and I liked the person, I would bring it up.
To answer their question, this is the one thing. You didn't notice anything else. I do understand. The reason I eye roll what she wrote about, like, he planned on spoiling his kids. Like,
I mean, the reason he got expelled was for looking down on poor people.
Right. So I
really
again,
doesn't seem like he's changed much.
Right. Well,
he loves the poor.
That's what I'm saying. The way she wrote it is like this, among other things. No, he doesn't seem to have changed. Is
right,
really
that's the issue.
I heard this thing. I heard that it was weird on the date. Combined with this, I am out.
Right.
That's fine.
Fine.
You know, the core values. I don't think anyone's core values are, I like to spoil my kids. Fuck you. I don't know. It just
Right.
feels like I don't know. So, but I understand it. Yeah, I think to answer the question though, if you went on the next date, would you, if this was the one thing?
If this was the one thing, I think I would bring it up to him. You're saying if I'm him.
If you're her, you go on the next date. Let's say there was not everything perfect.
Okay.
You find this article.
I go on the date. I would say
You would go on the date.
I would go on another. Yeah, I would go on the date if
Okay.
I really liked him.
If
I really
I
liked
had a
the person.
great time. I want to go
Yeah.
on a second date.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the article that says he spit on people and said,
Yeah.
you're poor. You'd go on the
I'd
next
go
date.
on the date.
Okay.
And I would say I would bring it up. I think I would bring it up fairly early. I would say like, I have to say, I went home and I Googled you
Mhm.
as you do in 2024.
Totally normal.
And this article came up, about, I guess the thing you told me about last time about how you were expelled. Like, did you really say those things? Like
What
what
happened?
happened there?
Right.
And then the whole thing would hinge on his response to that.
Right. Would you allow for, again, hypothetically speaking,
Mm-hmm.
if he was like, that's not what happened? Like, would you allow for him to disagree with how it was painted? Let's say he has a side to the story.
How did it happen?
I'm saying, like, is the
It would
only
be a
way
red.
for this?
It would be a large red flag if he had an explanation that seemed like it could be plausible, that it wasn't like complete. Like there was no way that if it wasn't so obvious. If it was not extremely obviously false, if it was like a possibility, I think it would be a big red flag and maybe like something I'd keep in the back of my mind. But I think I would continue to go out with them if they had an explanation that seemed like it was possible. And then I'd be on the lookout for any other behavior that would
Right.
give me any sort of other sign that he was being that he wasn't being honest about that.
Yeah, and behavior such as I want to spoil the fuck out of my kids
That-
would be like, oh yeah, I guess you haven't learned. I can understand
right.
that.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think like the article itself would if I thought he was amazing otherwise
Mm.
and I brought it up and he had something that seemed like there could have been another side to the story, I think I would give him a chance, but I would be definitely looking out for other signs. And at the first sign that there was that maybe either he's a liar,
Right.
because that's the other option if he's saying it didn't actually happen like that,
Mm-hmm.
or that he's like that, then I would be out.
I would understand. I only ask it that way
Yeah.
because it's understandable to me that someone would be like,
This is assuming I was already very into him.
right, of
Right.
course.
Yeah. If I was on the
It's-
fence, it'd be like, all right, there's no
Enough
reason
already. This
to-
is
yeah,
right. I it's interesting to me that like if to me, if he's a true grifter, he
Mhm.
would know exactly what to say, which is like, I've learned, I've lived. Like he would have like a whole speech.
He would already know what to say.
Right.
Right.
And that's why I'm wondering, like, if he took the
I mean, I believe in redemption. If that actually did happen, and then he learned a huge lesson, and he felt horrible, and he thinks about it all the time.
the idea that someone could be a different
Yeah.
person at 19 than they are at 27, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah. And listen, I could that would be that's the easy explanation from him. Like she asked, like, what should he say?
right.
I
That
would
was.
say
Would you bring that up preemptively, or would you wait for the person to Google it?
it would have to.
Let's say like they happen this natural way where she's like, "Oh, why'd you transfer schools? I got expelled."
I think I would have said it there.
You would have just
not in
preemptive.
as
You would
many-
have given the explanation instead of waiting for them to ask.
Yeah, I think I would have been prepared to be like, yeah, I had this like horrible thing happen that I made a huge mistake. You'd have to say
Mhm.
the fact that he didn't say I made a huge mistake on the date
Right.
is even more showing of maybe
It was a bad time in my life. I made a really bad mistake. Yeah.
right. And I learned in
Instead
the
of-
hardest
yeah,
way.
I got
It
expelled.
and now I have this thing that's online that kind of follows me. The way they wrote it, I see it. Even if he sees it differently, like again, there's 3 sides to every story.
Right.
And this is the one that got written up, and that's the one that, and
I mean, this is a news article that got written up, so I imagine that someone did some sort of
investigation.
vetting.
I don't know.
It wasn't just like your friend told you the story.
I agree. I'm not saying
The fact that it's
listen,
a
I'm not
news article
doubting the
is worse
story.
than if a friend told me that story.
Absolutely.
Because this is like
Absolutely.
someone whose reputation has put them on there.
Yeah, I
I agree. If it came up, he should have told the full story.
in the kind, and people tell stories in ways that are kind to themselves.
Mhm.
I would understand if he was like, I had this fight at a bar. I said some things that I really regret saying. It became a story. I got expelled. And
Learned a lot.
I've learned a lot from that situation. But again, like it's hard to look past like that's how you were brought up. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I can understand from her side, like, so wait, you didn't know not to do, I don't know. It's hard. It's
Well, that's what I'm saying. It would be like a large red flag, and it would require like further monitoring. I think it would require a lot of further monitoring, but in itself, if it was like explained in a certain, I just hate to say that no one is deserving of a relationship who hasn't changed, who like
I'm with
I do
you.
believe in redemption if like the person is truly apologized.
Listen, we're gonna put this on the internet.
Everyone's
I know. Well, I know someone's gonna.
Yeah.
It is so easy to comment with this moral high ground of like that you've never made a mistake in your life, with nothing on
Right.
you online.
Well,
you
same
know,
question
so
for you. What would you be out if you saw the article?
if I had a perfect first date,
Amazing.
I'm so
first date.
excited.
Yeah.
I see the article. I would ask the same questions. I would be the same as you.
Right.
I would be like, "What's the deal? I gotta know the
Right.
deal."
Yeah.
And if they said a huge, again, there's two roads at that point. It's that didn't happen, and then I've made a huge mistake, and I've learned a lot.
Mhm.
To me, there's no like, what are the other options at that point?
Right.
That's why I bring up
Yeah.
both. Right.
Like I do it again.
Right. Well, yeah.
It happened exactly like that, and I'm
Right.
doubling down.
Right. I guess that's the
hate
third
courts.
option.
Hate them.
Yeah, that would be a weird,
Well, that's why I'm saying like the
decision.
fact that she was like he wants to spoil his kids. He's really into money. Like to me,
That's a weird thing to say.
that's sort of like if I were her, I would also be out. But
Right. When you say that combined, that's
Right.
yeah. Again, that's why the eye roll came at core values. It's like, no. You put together
So
two
what-
and
what
two.
if she was
you
like-
made four. Get me the
Right.
fuck out of here.
what if
no,
she said it didn't happen that way?
I'd be like you. I'd need to like, how'd it go down? And that's the crazy part about not just apologizing and say I've like,
Well, you'd have to think about how you'd explain that article to anyone in your life. that
right.
ruffled him.
You have to go to court every
Every
single
day,
time
right.
that comes up.
Yeah.
Um,
You'd have to be really into them. And like they'd have to show you a completely different side. But again, like you said, maybe if they're like a sociopath, they're pretty good at that.
right. I would assume that this guy is like, his goal is to meet someone that's like the media, and he's like, thank God.
Right.
Like, oh, you don't believe anything. Good.
Someone for everyone.
Right. There's
Yeah.
a butt for every seat.
But I'm saying this would be like a massive red flag where if something happened down the line, you would have to say, I should have known when I saw the article.
Right. Things become more important that maybe weren't as important before. Like, I would spoil my kids. You're like, what?
Right. Yeah. Where
You
there was
know,
a comment like that from before might
Yeah.
not be that big of a deal. That combined with an article about them spitting on someone who's poorer than them
Right.
changes the context entirely.
Totally agree. Let's do another email.
Let's do it. Okay.
Keep sending in your emails. uup@betches.com. We're gonna. I mean, I'm excited for Are We Dating? I think that's
Yes.
a great concept. That
Are we dating? I'm excited. It'd be like a little court.
Let's
we're
do
gonna
it.
Okay. Hey J&J, recently I had a second date situation that I would love your opinion on. I went on a first date to brunch with a guy who paid for food and several rounds of drinks. The total came out to around $80. We were coordinating a second date and I offered my treat for whatever we picked next. He ended up picking a pricey Italian restaurant.
You don't say.
Yeah. But to his credit, he mentioned it was expensive and we could go somewhere else. But I agreed. It would be fun to get dressed up and we vibed well on the first date, so it should be fun. I would be turned off by that.
It's a little annoying.
I said my treat, and then they were like, "Here's the like." I mean, that they took. I mean, that's a test. It's
My
my treat.
treat
That's a test. And
off-
oh, of course not.
Right. And also,
Right.
if it's okay with you, no, don't do that.
Right.
Just say, no.
We can go somewhere else. It's like
right.
a kid.
Right.
Like,
You don't want to. Well, if you don't want to go to Shea Pennypacker, then I
Insane.
guess we'll do otherwise.
you have to pick somewhere equal to or cheaper than the first date if someone
Right.
is saying that to you.
Be a little thoughtful.
I know. Fast forward to the date. As we're looking at the menu and talking back and forth about what was looking good, he mentioned he was really thinking about ordering the lobster mac
Come on.
and cheese, which was noticeably the most expensive menu item by at least double the next most expensive menu item. Tacky. I ended up convincing him to roll with a few shared dishes instead. No. What about
This
what about the
day-
edamame?
She's got a calculator.
That's a better
out.
app.
Yeah, edamame. What about the free bread?
I ended up convincing him to roll with a few shared dishes instead, but I'm curious if there are any rules or guidelines in your opinion when it comes to ordering when the person in charge of paying has already been chosen ahead of time and when it's not you ordering a super expensive meal. Is that inconsiderate? I knew I'd be paying a good amount for a nice restaurant with rounds of drinks and food and was prepared to. But when one dish is more than $35 more than the next menu item, is that inconsiderate when you know you're not paying? Or savvy? Love y'all. Curious to hear your opinion.
Savvy is like
That's insane.
Is quite a negative way to look at
Guys.
society.
This guy's just dating for free dinner.
Right.
It reminds me of like, you know, when your friends' parents would take you out to dinner when you were a kid?
Mm-hmm.
I would always kind of like ask my friend, like, what are you getting?
Right.
And then I'd try to make sure I was getting something around the same price as my friend.
Yeah. I was definitely in my head about that type of stuff.
Right. You want to be like the kid's friend that comes and like orders the whole menu.
Right. I also don't I think this all goes back to my treat. Like I don't
Why
like
would you say that?
Why let's get away from that.
That's why you don't ever say that.
Right.
Also, like, if you're going to say my treat, do it when the bill comes. I wouldn't say that
Right.
ahead of the date.
Yeah, I don't like
Just so you know, the next one I'm paying for is like kind of.
let
I
it
wouldn't
happen.
I wouldn't like a guy to say that either.
Right. I think you've set up a very monetary,
Transaction.
a transactional vibe for the date when you say my treat.
Right.
Like next
But
one
especially-
I'm paying.
Especially before the. I think it's fine if she said that they went to dinner again.
Right.
And she was like, I really would love to pay for this one.
Right.
My treat,
and
whatever.
It's also normal to like let the date happen and go, hey, you got us last time. I had such a great time. Tonight, I would really want to take care of it. Like it can happen at it
Sure,
later.
yeah.
Once
I wouldn't
you see how
present
he
it
orders.
before the date.
Yeah,
It also feels like, oh, if you like, if it's about money, like I'll pay for the next one.
Well, when you say my treat, now you've kind of put this person again. When you said like, what go to a place as expensive versus not expensive, you're kind of like being tested. Like,
Yeah.
like when you go my treat, okay, let's see what this asshole does with this one. Like the setup is kind of bizarre to
But
me.
given that, don't you think it's weird that he picked this restaurant?
Sure. And it's weird to notice it's expensive, say it's expensive.
Right.
And if
still
that's
do
a
it.
problem,
Yeah.
we don't have to. It's like, okay, you've just taken advantage of my treat,
Right.
and now I don't trust anything you do. And then everything gets zoned in on more as the day
Yeah.
goes on.
Or if
the
he
lobster
really-
mac.
if he really wanted to go to this place, go to the date, go to the end, and then at the end, if he was actually like a normal person, I would have. If I were him, I would have just paid for the whole thing and be like, I'm obviously not. Like I picked this place.
That's the classy
I got
thing
the
to do.
lobster mac and cheese. Stop. Right.
I'll have the champagne and the caviar and I don't. What do you when you go on a date? When you would go on a date with a guy, would you?
I'm also kind of like trying to stay in line with whatever he's ordering, especially if I know that like I'm not offering to pay. Like if that, I think that's polite. That's like good etiquette to be like. I mean, again, I'm not like if his order is $28, I might order something $30, but I'm not ordering something twice as expensive as the person that I know is paying.
Right.
And and again, that dates back to like going out with my friend's parents.
Right. You match the vibe.
Right.
I just think ordering to me
Like
is
you're not going to order dessert if no one else is ordering dessert with your friend's parents.
right. Of the creme brulee.
You're 9. Right. Yeah.
Coffee? No one's doing coffee. No. Yeah. I'm like it. I don't go on dates I can't afford.
Right.
Like I would if
Have you
someone
ever
said,
let someone pay for the date?
of course, but if they said, I want to pay, okay, I'll put up a fight a little bit, but then
Right.
you go, okay. But
Sure.
I also, I don't know.
What if someone said? What if you went out with someone? They said, "Next time, my treat. You pick."
I wouldn't like that.
Where would you pick?
I right. I don't even know. You pick. I don't like that.
Chipotle.
Like, right. I don't know. I want to not.
I think you would just pick where you wanted to go, and then you would just pay.
Yeah. Well, that would again, yes.
Right.
But I also, if I was put in that position of like you pick, I pay. I mean, I don't know. I don't like that vague. Like I don't know where, especially a second date. This is a second date.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't know the person's vibe. Like again, you've learned a lot about the person. Like.
Yeah,
Like,
I would
if
be
I'm going
turned
to-
off by this whole situation.
I'd be, yeah, absolutely. The lobster mac. Who orders lobster mac and cheese on a date?
right?
You try to shit your pants? I don't know. Lobster mac and cheese to me, I'm out.
I don't really like lobster mac and cheese.
I
I
don't
like
like it at all.
regular mac and cheese. I'm into.
I don't like lobster unless it's a lobster roll or a whole lobster.
I've never had a whole lobster actually.
You never had like a New
Girl.
England dinner?
Grew up kosher.
Oh.
I mean, I would eat lobster now, but I just not as many opportunities.
Yeah, yeah.
to,
You got to be in like a lobster
just
shack.
have a lobster.
Comes with the
meal.
corn,
Yeah.
the drawn butter. Lobster ravioli, I think, is the biggest waste of money in the entire world.
Yeah, you can't even taste it.
It's bullshit.
Who cares?
I think ravioli is a bad order generally. Have I talked about this here?
No, but I agree with you. My issue with ravioli, there's never enough to be full.
Exactly. It's a
just
stupid
like
order.
6 pieces of pasta.
A good ravioli is not economical.
No.
It's just stupid.
Well, neither is like sushi. Sashimi is not economical.
I could get a boat. Oh, sushi.
Sashimi.
I get sashimi
Nowhere.
for the you. I think
That's expensive.
it's the same
It's like 6 pieces of individual fish.
Right.
It's like $30.
Well, I guess when I would get sashimi, it would only be an alone sushi dinner. Like
alone. Oh, you do like omakase.
I would get it. No, like on my like if I was gonna get sushi for one,
Yeah.
that's when I would get sashimi. If I was with a group, I'm not ordering sashimi
Well, it
as a
adds
group
up.
situation.
It's a lot of sashimi.
Yeah. There's a different way to order for a group
Mhm.
than me on my own. But to me, the whole lobster mac and cheese, lobster ravioli is like that's a marketing gimmick as far as a way for a restaurant to get you to like pay
Agreed.
double the amount.
So
Look at
yeah, I don't want fish in my macaroni and cheese.
right.
the other way to
Fish.
Think about it.
Yeah, this is. I think they got to say stop doing my treat, and also
that and truffles is also bullshit.
truffle's
I think
tough.
truffle's annoying. It's
Yeah.
like they're marking up the price for the truffle thing. I actually think it tastes worse with the truffles.
Right. It's something you didn't even know was good until they told you it was
Right.
good.
Do you want the truffle fries? No.
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 Truffle. Yeah, truffle fries, the taste lingers over the rest of the meal.
Yeah, just not worth it. Say no.
Let's play some
2024,
games.
we're calling it.
Say no.
You know
20
those like out versus in things?
Oh.
Like out.
Right.
We should do a dating one just to be annoying.
I'm sure it's been done by some asshole.
It definitely has. It definitely has.
Out versus in, ravioli.
Ravioli out. Truffle out. What's in?
Lobster in other things.
Out. Mixing fish with pasta.
Out.
Unless it's like seafood.
Shrimp,
like
scampi.
Yeah, it has to be not a lobster.
Blowjobs in.
We'll see.
Farts in. Okay.
Okay. I don't know. You're losing me.
Hold on.
What else is there?
What? Well,
Ghosting out.
got it. Taking shit out. This badass bitch.
Saying what you want in.
In.
I hate when they do that where it's like the obviously horrible thing is out.
Right.
You
Right.
see that with like people who like post about like dieting. They're like eating the things you don't like because they're healthy. Like, oh, are you gonna say that's in and the whole
Right.
internet will just like destroy you?
Right.
Obviously not.
You took a real brave stance.
Right.
Hooking
Being-
up with an ex time after time and crying to your best friends. Out.
Being nice to yourself. In.
What? Ah! Oh, oh!
Groundbreaking. Groundbreaking.
Did it. Let's play some games.
All right, let's do it.
Wouldn't you know we're playing out or in? No, red flag deal breaker. We love it. send them in. They always kiss on the first date.
Okay.
I have a first date question based on Jared's date with Nora. Hi, Nora. This is the gift that keeps
Hi,
on
Nora.
giving to her. Jared said they hugged goodbye. When I get a hug, to me, that obviously means no second date. If the date's going super well, there's chemistry. We'll probably kiss midway through the date and also kiss goodbye.
Double kiss.
Midway through is
That's got to be a really good date to kiss
right.
midway through.
I don't know about that one.
I've done it.
I've definitely done it, but I'm not
I
a
mean-
loser.
That's like a really good first date.
I guess, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like in what scenario the date is like so intimate that like that can come up.
Got a little hand on the. Maybe I'm just
Hand
a
on the
slut. Who
leg.
knows?
The big slut in. Have I,
That's me.
and also kiss goodbye. Have I been doing this wrong? Are guys not taking me seriously because I'm getting physical too quickly? To be honest, I might not change my behavior because I am who I am.
Being who you are.
In. But it would be kissing midway through the date. In.
I think we should bring that back in. Okay, go on.
I'm into it, but it would be great to know how I'm being perceived in general. For reference, I'm 34, female, and single. Been on maybe 12 first dates this year. A lot of kissing. Thanks for your help, kissy bitch. What do we think?
I think it's every date they kiss in the middle. Like, or she's saying the good ones. The ones
She's
that are good.
saying hug after the date, always bad. Kiss
Mhm.
midway through, always
okay.
good.
I think hug
And how are you perceived?
after the date, not a great sign, I would say.
Mm.
Doesn't mean that there's no second date, but I would say the percentage that there's a second date much lower. There's no make out than I was like I guess I made out with a lot of people. I was not like but I think if I was into someone that was
I'm a kissy
fun.
bitch.
If it was like on the fence, usually no make out, I would say. If it wasn't like a clear vibe.
Let me defend not kissing after the first date for
Okay.
2 seconds.
Yeah.
I've not kissed after a first date and had a great first date.
Okay.
It just didn't present itself. It just didn't, maybe we're on a street corner and it's
Right.
busy or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
It didn't mean, no kiss didn't mean I was horrified. You know what I mean? Like
You were definitely not into
definitely
it.
not into it. But I would say I've also kissed after a first date and been like, that was fun, but I don't really see a future.
Right. No, I don't think the kiss means 100% on.
Right.
But I think that a lack of one means almost more than getting one.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I'm thinking about it now, and I'm like thinking out loud. Like the lack of one, I've gone on a second date, but I've also, maybe I shouldn't have.
Midway kiss.
Midway
probably
kiss.
get-
We're going out again. I mean,
that's
we
a fun
gonna
date.
fuck.
Eventually.
I'm not gonna make that T-shirt.
Yeah.
We gonna fuck.
I mean, you'd have to be like pretty not, it'd be crazy to be like not into someone but kiss them in the middle of a date, I think.
Right. See, I would. Yeah, you're definitely into them,
Enough to sleep with them, at least.
Right.
Yeah.
and
I don't know. Do you think she's playing it wrong with the,
no, I
With
think
the
she's
midway
having
kiss?
fun. I think she's being herself. It's in to be who
Yeah.
we are.
were you ever like, I'm sure, and I think I already know the answer, but I'm sure you've never gone out with someone and been like, we kissed in the middle of the date, so it was too easy for me. I'm out.
No.
Yeah.
That's not even a thought in my mind. I think women generally are too hard on themselves with that stuff.
Right.
You kiss on the first date, you fuck on the first date.
Sure. If he
Yeah,
likes
whatever.
you.
He likes
Right,
you,
yeah.
like we'll see.
Right.
It's all, again, it goes back to the dating versus are we dating type of thing. You go, these men are like, they're like bees. You can only see like 4 inches in front of their faces.
Right.
So hot woman gonna kiss. That's really the thought process.
Do you try to sleep with someone on the first date?
I don't try to sleep with someone.
Ever?
Like, you know what I mean? Like
I know what you say. You're not pushing anyone to sleep with you, but I mean, like,
You're coming with me. No.
no, but I mean, like, are you like,
It would, to me,
if it happened in that way?
If it happened that way, but I'm
what percent of first dates would you say you've slept with someone on?
very small. Not a lot.
Very
I'm not,
few.
yeah,
Okay.
very few.
Under 10%.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why when I'm almost like, when women write in like, oh, we went home together on the first date, so that won't be anything. I'm like, man, I wish I had done it that way. Instead of like, hey, maybe I'll get to know the person and feel comfortable enough to be able to
Let them get attached to me. And then let them think it means something.
Right. Well, that's not my plan, but that, like, so yeah, I have, but it's not to say I wouldn't, but it's like, to me, the dance would have to move that way.
Right.
It's got to feel natural to me too. Like I want to be comfortable and have fun with it. And I don't think, like, there's some people that I know that are like, they're out to eat. Like,
Yeah.
there are dudes that are like, I want to, I'm going on this date because I
Want to hook up.
Want to hook up.
Yeah.
To say that doesn't exist, that's
Of course that I mean,
that
I've gone out with those people. Yeah.
right.
You can spot them if you're not super drunk.
Yeah.
Harder when you had 3 drinks.
Right.
Yeah.
At that point, whatever moves you. No, but I've been on dates like, and you go, like, had a hot makeout, and that was like perfectly like what it should have been.
Right.
Like,
yeah, that's the perfect way to end a great date, I think.
is a hot makeout.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think like the dates that end up going towards like sexual town are the ones that kind of travel. They go from like one bar to the next bar. And I've said that to people. I was like, if you want a fun date, travel the date. That is a more fun date.
Well, then by the end of that, you're like, you want to just come back?
Right.
And then right.
We'll see what, and then it's 2 strangers hugging. Which is the weirdest part about dating, is that like just hugging someone whose middle name you've never learned.
Right.
And that's kind of the lonely part of dating. It's like, do I like
I
this
feel like
person?
that happens more on a 3rd date.
That happens.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Want to come back? There you are.
Right. I've been in the position where I've gone on dates and they're like, you're coming back. And I'm like, oh, okay. Good to know.
Are you ever like, actually no?
Yeah. I've chosen food more than women, more than I can.
That must not go over well. I would be insulted.
That's a thing. It's not meant to insult.
Because you think, here's the thing.
Kind of hungry.
Here's the thing. You think you're doing like the super confident thing. Like,
Right.
You're coming back with me. And they're like,
Actually, it's an early morning.
Right.
Yeah, I've done that.
It's like,
it's never,
because you've like you've kind of like put yourself out there in
Right.
that,
And in my mind, it's always just like, it's always logistical. It's not about the person.
Right.
When I'm like, yeah, I'll go home with you, but I'm like, do I want to not sleep? And
Right.
I want my own
Sleep in someone
bed.
else's bed.
Right. I want to, and that's where I feel like an old man, like.
Well, that's where you're responsible. It's not like you're just going with like whatever comes up.
Right. But it's less heroic than it could be taken. It's more me being like, I kind of want to wake up and I don't want to deal with this tomorrow.
It's just a little deflating.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can understand
Yeah.
that.
No, if a guy didn't come back with me, I think I would assume he hates me.
Hates. That's the thing. That's what the hard part is. Like, it's not a hatred.
Right.
It's more like, it's Wednesday.
That's fair.
I've done that
All right.
before.
Well, I guess.
I remember one time I was at a bar. I'm talking to this girl, and this is a long time ago. We're talking to this girl. I'm talking to this girl, and then like we're hanging out, and then she goes to the bathroom, and I like look out the window, and there was like a pizza place right across the corner. She's gone. And then I literally was like, do I want to do this? Do I want to push through? I'm kind of hungry.
Why don't you just ask her to come get pizza with you? That's what Jorge would have done.
Right. Magical Jorge.
Yeah.
She comes
like she
back
could
up.
come with you.
Well, she comes back up, and I go, I gotta go to the bathroom now too. And I just went out the door and went to the pizza place.
Oh my God, you're
And
an
I just-
animal.
I just remember looking out the window, looking at her, like I could
She
like
saw you?
see into the other restaurant. Like, yeah.
What did she say?
No, she didn't see me. I was just like,
So you had the pizza when she thought you were in the bathroom?
I left. I was like, it's pizza time.
Did you say goodbye? You left? Like you
That
ended
was
the
my
date?
goodbye. It was like a crowded bar. It was very.
Oh,
it was like
okay.
it was a ghosting on
Okay,
a
it wasn't
first.
like a dinner date.
No. No, like we were in a crowded bar, met this girl, and then she's like, we were like having drinks together, and then all of a sudden I was like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and then I literally
Wow.
looking through the window.
Sure, she's told that story to a therapist.
I wonder what happened to that guy.
All right, let's do another one.
All right.
Hello, J&J. I have a situation that doesn't really affect me, but it's quite awkward, and I thought it would start an interesting dialogue. Love an
Okay.
interesting dialogue.
The puppeteer writing in.
Yes. A few years ago, I went on about 6 dates with a guy I met from Hinge. He was really nice and cute, but his personality just didn't mesh with mine. He was too happy and positive about everything. And let's just say I'm the complete opposite. I'm a bitter bitch. Also, when I followed him on Instagram, I noticed that he was following 7,000 local hot women.
7,000?
Local hot women. What is that? How does she know they're local? How does she know they're local? Not
Somerville Sally.
She Googled every single one of
Right.
them. Not famous celebrities, but just really hot women who have about 2,000 followers and live in the same city. He also likes every picture that each 7,000 women post. Okay, this
Is
guy's
it
a
really
problem.
7,000?
She says 7,000. She didn't say thousands. She
I
said
know.
7,000.
She's very specific.
I could see this being the case.
I could too.
After cutting things off, we kept following each other to watch each other's lives unfold forever. He has since gotten married. I also started noticing that anytime I'd visit any of my close friends' profiles, his name would be showing at the top because he started following them too. This guy
This guy's
is an
addicted.
animal.
Yeah.
I asked these friends if they know him, and they said no. He literally follows any woman he sees and then follows all the women that those women tag in pictures.
Oh
I
my
even
God.
posted a group family photo. I'm an only child, but I have 6 female cousins ranging from ages 16 to 40. I posted a photo with all my cousins and then noticed that he chose 2 of them to follow.
Oh,
He
this
chose
guy.
my cute 19-year-old cousin and my hot 28-year-old cousin.
Of course he did.
He didn't want to follow any of the other 4 cousins for whatever reason.
They ugly bitch.
He selected which ones he liked most to add to his collection. So what the hell is this? Is this normal for men? Can someone please explain this to me? And how does his wife not care? Local hot woman. I can't believe that someone married this guy. That's the most surprising thing to me. He's just like out here having absolutely no tact, just following everyone. Like,
I mean,
there's no consequences.
right. His horniness just on public display.
Insane. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. This is a guy with a problem. Like there's addiction of every kind. This is an addiction for
You're
him.
liking not the girl who you went out with random cousins.
How do you explain? It is funny as a guy when you see.
It's just funny how like little social awareness men seem to have of these things.
There's also
I
no
can't believe his wife
shame.
never
There's no
said
shame
anything.
associated. Like this guy isn't ashamed. That's the thing.
If
Like
this was my husband, I'd be mortified.
there are like if you go to the For You page and you'll go like mine will have like models. And then I'll like, oh, that woman's hot. Let me go look at her picture. So I go to her picture, and then it's always funny to me to see another guy I know who has already liked the picture.
Do you like it?
No, the first name
Okay.
is like it shows you
Yeah,
the one
show you
name in
person that
common,
that follows.
and
them.
you're like, wow, I guess we have the same taste in women. Like it's like kind of like a fun moment of
Do you follow the person?
solidarity. No, I have. Don't get me wrong. I follow models on Instagram. Like I'm not this, but
Do you
I
follow dates you've gone out with that didn't turn out to be anything? Do you follow their cousins?
think no. I don't think so. I'm not trying to act above this guy
Okay.
because the sentiment I understand. This is someone who's lost control of their lives.
This is someone who if your friend was dating this guy, this would be a separate group chat
Right.
to talk about all the people.
So this guy needs an
It
intervention.
would be like a running joke.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he's become a joke of himself. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There's this is like, to me, we can all laugh at him, but it does show it's like,
He's like collecting
right.
people.
It shows how men do social media in the most loud and gross way.
It's just to me, it's just so interesting that
lots of
there's
men.
no like shame. There's no like I can see looking at a picture, person you want to date with, that's her cousin. She's cute,
And down the rabbit
but
hole,
like
that happens. Yeah.
then just keep going, move on.
It's
to
weird to not want to lose track of her. You know, like,
That's what I'm
like to
saying.
me, like you go check out someone on your For You page, you go, oh, hot, cute, look at that. And then you go off their page and you let it, maybe they show up in your For You page
your
again.
dream.
And then,
In your wet dream.
right. And you're right. I'm tasked with explaining the disgustings.
right.
And
It's a dirty job. No
it's
one wants to do it.
Right. And this guy needs an intervention.
7,000 local women.
Well,
That
again,
sounds like a headline of like a true crime episode.
7,000
Local
local women. It's also just I think the one thing, the cousin part is fucking wild.
Yeah. I mean, because his wife has got to have a lot of people that he follows. I would be like, if I asked Mike, like, oh, you follow, how do you know this person? I don't. I just came across them. I follow. I would be like, what?
What if they had 100,000 followers?
If they were like I mean,
I guess that's where the difference.
He follows like, I wouldn't say he follows absolutely no one that I wouldn't be like he follows them because he thinks they're hot. And when I see him looking at those pictures, I'm like, oh, like, why do you follow that person? Are you getting stock tips?
What does he say?
What? Like, I'm just a fan.
Fan of their work.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, listen. It's
like, are you getting other, because usually it's like some sort of like fitness influencer or something.
Sure.
If they had 2,000 followers, that would be different.
If they had 100,000,
that's fine.
it's fine, right?
Yeah.
But that's like the weird
But
rationalization
not that
we all
many.
do.
Not 7,000 of those either.
Right. There's got to be a little bit of
Right.
taste.
Have some class.
And some shame.
Right.
Yeah. Listen, it's hard because we have people that write in all the time. This is an extreme version of something we've heard before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dating this guy and he follows a bunch of, models.
Yeah.
And again, it's like this weird gray area of like what's okay versus not okay.
There should be a cap. You can follow they've got to have over 100,000. Here's the rules. They've got to have over 100,000 followers.
Okay.
And you're limited to your top 15.
And should it have to say
Or,
model in their profile? What is it?
They could be an influencer of some sort if they want to pretend to be. I'm taking back the 15. It has to be less than 5% of the people you follow.
Of the people.
It's a percentage.
Oh, I like that.
Yes. So if you follow a ton of people.
If you're a big, like 10,000 follows, you can have more than if you follow 500.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
If it's 800 people and you follow 1,000, not
Listen,
good.
I'm saying this and I do a joke about it on my set. My dad literally was like scrolling his TikTok. He like loves TikTok. And he's like, there's so many women with asses here. And
Welcome to the internet.
I'm like, yeah, that's you. That's who you are.
Right.
And
you
it's
are
like this,
your algorithm. We've talked about this before.
There it is.
If you want to find out who someone is, look at their explore page.
Or don't. It might be too much for you.
Well, that's kind of like looking in someone's diary.
Right. And I think here's the thing.
That's your diary.
Social media, Instagram is what magazines used to be. To me,
Right.
if we want to look at rationally,
Oh, totally.
Like your For You page is the magazines you would have gotten, Vogue, whatever,
Good
Health and
Housekeeping.
Fitness, Good Housekeeping, Ring magazines, Home Decor, and men. What magazines do they used to look at? Maxim,
Men's
Sports
Health.
Illustrated, Men's Health. Again, it's not too crazy to think if you
Right.
think about it that way.
Yeah. Well,
Playboy
yeah, but now it's your magazine subscriptions are all.
for the world
like-
to see.
I can see all your mail. Yeah.
Right.
All right, let's do one more.
Their texting pattern changes after the third date. J&J love the podcast. I am a subscriber. Get subscribed, people. We got so much great stuff.
Just do it.
37 female, Manhattan. Went on. I love that.
She needs to specify.
Right. Went on 3 dates with 37 male, Brooklyn. Boo. Yes.
I like Brooklyn.
We met on an app and had our first date at a bar in Brooklyn that he chose.
Okay. Made you come to him.
Then Christmas happened, and we were texting often while I was away. Date 2 was a bar in Manhattan that I chose. The night ad actually led to a few bars and lots of making out, traveling.
As we've just said, yeah.
And third date was a walk in the park in Brooklyn. Again, my choice.
Wouldn't have done that.
Okay. Weird third date.
Yeah.
He is recently divorced, has a young child, if this is relevant. The chemistry and the connection have been great. We have similar hobbies and interests, and I've been dating for 3 years and don't often feel as interested as I do in him. And he's so tall.
I bet you she would say they're dating.
You think so?
I think she might. 3 dates.
I-
Went on a walk. You're dating.
Yeah, that's a pretty serious date. He was texting me nonstop between our first 2 dates, which I usually don't like, but eventually got into and really enjoyed the constant back and forth. He said it was hard to leave me after our third date, and then the New Year happened. We both had separate plans. Happy New Year texts were exchanged, but now he's set up another date.
Hasn't.
now he hasn't.
Candace and I were like, he hasn't. He hasn't.
Haman. But now he hasn't set up another date, and there's a change in his text pattern. Still responding, but not keeping the convo going. He did say he was busy this week, but I can sense that something is off. I'm ready to take the loss since I don't like this feeling or the change in this communication pattern. But my question is, what do I do if he texts me like 5 days from now asking me out again? I feel like he will. And he did say he wanted to see me again. I already took the initiative and asked him to let me know when he's free, suggested a date activity I would love for him to take me to, and he said it sounded great, but that's it. No plan. Uh-oh.
Sounds great.
Is him going from texting? Yeah, I've done the sounds great. Is him going from texting constantly to cooling off and agreeing to a hypothetical future date a deal breaker? Is there something I should say to him to let him know this isn't cool, or just let it go? What's the best case and worst case scenario here if and when he texts again? A testy, texty bitch.
It's a lot of anxiety coming out of this email. I can feel it.
Right. Relatability high here.
Totally. I would say, when she says, let him know this isn't cool, I would say this isn't not cool. This is just the person that this just might be him losing interest, but that's not cool.
Or settling into who he is. I think
Sure.
also I'm not trying to give him excuses, but I guess I am. Holiday time, just different than January. Like as far as
Fine.
time to like, as far as what work considerations are concerned and
I don't
kid
want to give her
considerations.
false hope though.
I know. I'm just saying that that's
right.
something to be said.
Here's what I would do. I wouldn't, because she's doing this thing where she feels like she's taking the power back by being like, I've taken this as a loss, and then
I hate that.
It's over, and then but what if he comes back? It's like, that's not the power move. The power move is, hey, do you want to go to this thing that I talked about last week on Thursday? I'm free. Let me know.
Right.
It's not like, let me say it's over in my mind, feel terrible about it, and then if he comes back, like all is forgiven.
Right. And then I feel like shit because I forgave.
Right.
After I made this weird rule that going on dates when they don't make the plan out, these ins and outs, they make you feel like shit.
Right. Because you're like, I do that.
Right. And it's like, I guess it is an out, I guess if I like you, things change. I think vulnerability is the power move. And what you're saying is vulnerable.
Right.
Hey,
had a great time.
I had a great time. I want to go out on Thursday. If you're free, make the plan. Like, I think that's way more powerful than, should I just take it as a loss? It's
right.
Like, what?
And I can understand why you're like, not putting yourself out there feels more empowering, but it's but you're the one who's just going to be sitting around stewing for 5 days, wondering if he's ever going to text you. So that's not actually empowering.
Right. And not at all. It's the opposite. And also, I think it's okay. Like what you said to us, I've been dating for 3 years. This felt like a really cool connection. I'm down to see what this is all about. That's totally reasonable.
Yeah. And then you're going to know when you say that thing.
Yeah, that's the reveal. That's her being like, here's a surprise. I like you.
Let's play it out.
Yeah.
So that I would love to go to that bar that I was talking about last week. I've been having a great time. I would love to go to that bar I was talking about last week on Thursday.
I can't do Thursday. This week is crazy. I came back from work. Christmas was easy. Now this is kind of really what my life is. Can I get back to you in next week with a plan? That would be him deciding still.
Okay.
That would be, again, to not false hope this. That would be him being like, give me a minute to breathe on this. I got other things going on.
Think about.
I think this is someone who's dating multiple people. I think this is someone who has a kid, which is another element to it, and has a lot of built-in excuses. And, I'm sure. Here's the thing. From his end, he knows you like him. He knows you're into this. So he's backing away and assessing. And I think what you're saying, is she wants an on-off switch.
Yeah.
So create on-off switch.
That soothes anxiety.
Right.
When you have it's on or it's off.
Right. And then it's okay to be turned off. So, hey, if he wrote back, hey, this week just ain't going to work for me. Next week is better. I think the text back to him would have to be, listen, I was having a great time getting to know you. I'm feeling turned off by how this communication has kind of gone. If you're not going to make a plan, I have to move on.
Right.
And that's not
Hard
an
to do.
ultimatum, and it's hard to do, easier
Yeah.
said than done. And it's not really an ultimatum. It's just like, hey, this is the amount of bullshit I'm willing to put up with.
Right.
You've hit the end of the
You've
bullshit.
hit the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you have to
that's-
let them know that. Instead, the whole take this, I hate that. And we hear that so much.
Take what?
I guess I'll just take it as a loss.
Oh, yeah. Well, you think you're being self-protective.
Right.
Because you're like, I'm not going to get excited about this thing because I know what that means. And I'm like a smart dater. Or
Right.
whatever it is. Well,
And honestly, that makes it so it go a lot longer. It's you're not going to get what you want out of that.
right.
Or
Yeah.
they disappear and you're wondering about it forever.
And also she says he said it was hard to leave me after our third date. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, that means
Don't believe anything that anyone says ever. Only look at what they do.
right. It's so hard to leave you. Yeah, because
Sure.
he went on a fucking walking date and he'd rather be, home fucking you. That was him going, hint, hint,
Hello.
come home with me.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Walking dates out.
Out.
Don't like.
We did it again, Jordana.
We did it. Also, walking date is very cheap.
Well, she suggested it.
I know.
He was like, yes.
Third date.
No lobster mac on this date.
Mm.
Fish and pasta.
Well, show some effort. It's
Right.
third date. I think that the date should get more effort as they go on, not less, not more casual.
I know. Yeah, the walking date. To me, it's also like a mixed message from her. Let's go walking.
Right.
Again, that if someone was like the third date, yeah, let's go walking in Brooklyn, I'd be like,
Are they gonna break up with me?
yeah, am I getting fired? And it'll also be like, I get, the weighing comes in where it's like, oh, so we had that hot makeout second date, then they asked for a walk on this third date, and it's like, to me, if I'm him, I'm like, how cordial is this gonna have to be? Like
Right.
how
You're gonna have to marry her.
right, like, and also like the next date I would want to like be physical with her, and if that would mean we are something way more because she did this walk date where I know she likes me.
You think a walk date? Her suggesting the walk date implies she likes him.
It implied that
Implies she's down to see him in any way he'll see her.
it implied physicality would mean something more to her.
Right, which
where
is good.
It's good.
That part of it's
and
good.
and maybe he's like, if I go down this road, then I'm like in a situation where I have to break up with someone. It's not gonna be this won't be fun and flirty and casual until
Right.
we figure it out. So he's probably weighing that.
Agreed. Well, text him. See
Yeah.
how it goes. And beware of that would be great text.
That would be great. Sounds good.
Yeah, that is. I've gotten that text before.
Yeah.
It's a kiss of death. Anyway, that's it
solved
for us.
dating again.
We did it. We'll be back on Sunday with the Sunday special.
Boom.
The You Up podcast is produced by Jorge Morales Pico, Sean Kilby, and Candice Maniga. Editing by Jorge Morales Pico and Shannon Sassone. Social media by Candice Maniga. Guest booking by Ali Friedlander. Be sure to follow at u.up.podcast on Instagram and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.